Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Zoom In on a Fresh Conversation. My name is Donna Gray Banks, and I am your host this evening. And Zoom In on a Fresh Conversation is brought to you by Islas Diamonds LLC, Gary Johnson Media, Bethune Publishing House Inc., author Angie Ransom Jones, who is a ghostwriter and a Dante production, and of course, the Fresh Book Festival, which will be in the beautiful city of Daytona Beach, February 25, 26, 27 in the year 2027. And tonight I have one of our featured authors. Author Jessica Tillis is here. She is a journalist for BlackAmericanMen.com, an author and a publisher, and it is my a pleasure to meet you. We've been Facebook friends for so long. And thank you, Jessica, for being here on Zoom In on a Fresh Conversation.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to talk and vibe and do all
I
that good.
know. Wait till you come to Daytona. Have you ever been to Daytona?
I can't wait. No,
Have you
I've
been?
never been.
Oh,
I've
good.
been to
This is
Orlando, been to other
no,
parts of Florida,
no,
but not
no,
Daytona.
no, no. This is the land of Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune and Dr. Jackie
Ooh,
Robinson, and I mean, it has real history here, and the
okay.
Daytona 500, of course. So we're gonna make sure you see all of that while you're here.
Okay. All
So
righty.
I just want to tell the audience really quickly a little bit about Jessica.
Oh, you want me to talk about me?
Yeah, your puppies and
Oh,
your hobbies and
don't mention them too loud. They're
okay.
quiet now. I've got two under the desk, one over there, one on the bed, another one. I've got five of them roaming around here. But okay, so let's see about me.
Where were you
Um,
born? Do you have brothers and sisters?
okay, so I am a native of Washington, D.C.,
Mm.
live in Prince George's County, Maryland. I have four sisters and a brother. I am the baby, and I'm 18 years old. And and I've been writing. I've been in the book
Every
business.
18.
Yeah, I'm 18 years
Yeah,
old,
yeah.
and I started. I wrote my first book in two that I wrote my first book, Anything Goes, in 1999, and I published it in 2000. And before I published it, I researched the book publishing industry because I wasn't going to go through a major publisher because I was scared I would get denied. And I don't take that really well.
And
So
so that's
I,
how it all started. You said, I don't want to go to a major publisher. I want to do my own thing. Back in
yeah,
the day?
yeah. And to
Ah,
that, yeah. And there weren't a lot of
there were
self-published
none. What do you
authors.
mean a lot?
In fact, self-publishing back then was like voodoo.
Right.
You just didn't do it.
You
But I
didn't do it.
digress. Let me back up. Let me back up. Okay, so been in the book publishing industry for 26 years.
Hmm.
I'm a national best-selling author. I am an award-winning publisher. I was honored with the African American Literary Award Show Publisher of the Year in 2008. Got that a year after my mom passed. I
Mm.
wish she were here to go to New York with me to accept that. I also I have a publishing house, Express Yourself Publishing, which I don't think is a publishing house now because I'm now the only author under it.
Hmm.
From 2006 to 2015, I had about 85 authors on my roster. And then 2015, it's not,
It's
I
a
had
lot.
lost myself. It's a lot. And you lose yourself as an author. I loved introducing new authors. I loved publishing other authors. And I loved my authors dearly. I mean, we did book signings together. We did a lot. It was really nice, but I lost Jessica Tillis. And I during that time, I don't think I put out a book between 2016. I mean, 2000. I probably did put out one or two, but
Right.
in 26 years in the game, I need to have about 100 titles by now.
Right.
So in 2015, I decided, okay, I hate to do this, but I need to reduce my roster. And it was down to um, me and Bill Holmes. And now Bill has left me. Bill wants to go out on his own and do his thing. And I said, I got you, brother. You need a book cover? Gotcha. You need formatting? Gotcha. You need editing? Gotcha. Go do you. And I also started, I'm going to back up again. In
Okay.
2000, I was married. And I got to be careful how I say this because right now he's one of my besties. Victor Tillis, I love you. That's my we're very good friends. Um but I was married and we were having issues. And I was also an avid reader. So reading all the time and sitting at the computer in the AOL chat rooms is what kept me occupied and not arguing, a lot. And that's when I decided to try. I think I can write a book, give it a try. And that's when I wrote Anything Goes.
Mm.
And at that time, someone said, I ain't calling his name, Victor Tillis, said that he is going to kill me. Again, I love you, Vic. He's like, listen, and he was like, listen, we can't use our household money to fund this. Book cover design, expensive. When I researched it, there wasn't a Fiverr back then. There was no Fiverr. So book cover design was like $850 and formatting was $3 and some cent a page. And Vic had a friend um who recently passed. He painted the first cover for Anything Goes. Gary,
Wow.
you remember that cover? Woman in a lounge chair at the pool, and men are looking at her.
I got the book. Yeah.
Honestly, it was very erotic. Ain't had squat to do with the book. But I didn't know. At that time, I didn't know that your book cover should speak to the genre and at least give the folks an idea of what's the book's about. And I remember I did the Baltimore Book Festival. Both my parents were alive. And Robin Green, who was the owner of Sabanye Books in Baltimore,
Mm.
she advised me to blow up my book cover. And baby, I blew it up
Oh,
to the point where my father said, I saw that half naked woman a mile up the street. But it got people's attention, and I
mm.
sold out of books because of that cover. And then I decided to change the cover because I started reading more about book cover design and I attended workshops. One workshop in particular, I can't think of the university right now that's in Towson, Maryland, but it was Colin Dixon was on the panel, Brenda L. Thomas, and Jamila Ellis. And they all
That's a
three
pretty good
said,
crew. Yeah. Go
yes,
ahead.
all three. In fact, it was Jamila who said, get this book, The Complete Guide to Self-Publishing by Tom and Marilyn Ross. Well, this is a later edition by Marilyn Ross and Sue Collier. That book told me everything from the rooter to the tutor for publishing, how to get your books into bookstores. They had sample letters. Look how thick this is.
That's War and
I,
Peace.
yeah, yes. This version tells you more about, gets into internet and social media. And they said you don't want to look self-published. You don't want to look self-published. So I had to research, say, well, how am I going to format my book? Because, I had Microsoft Word, but I didn't know how to format a book. Well, I think, what do you call it when it's 26 years later, so I won't get in trouble? I downloaded all the bootleg software I could find.
Right.
And I found PageMaker. But
Wow.
when you download the software, there are no instructions. But thank goodness, I can get quickly acclimated to any type of software I get into just by playing around with it. I pulled Terry McMillan's Waiting to Excel off my bookshelf.
Wow. Okay.
On the copyright page, it said typeset in Caslon, Caslon. To this day, I still typeset my books in Caslon.
That's the
And
font?
that's the font. And I measured the interspacing between each line, and I formatted. Anything goes, just like Waiting to Excel. And I also got another one of those, you can't let people know you're self-published. When I called Barnes and Noble to schedule a book signing, I said, "Hi, my name is Jessica Tillis, and I would like to schedule a book signing at your store. Have your people call us. My people? So yeah, have your people call our people." Oh, okay, thank you. And I was like, what the hell is she talking about? And I didn't know what she was talking about, but it came to me in the middle of the night what she was talking about. So the next day, I got up, I called that Barnes and Noble. I'm getting ready to tell on myself again. Hi, my name is Monica Brown. I'm with Express Yourself Publishing, Vendor Relations. I'd like to schedule a couple of signings for our authors at your location. Yes, I used my cousin name, Monica Brown. When she sees this, and Monica, guess what? You're still head of vendor relations. Self-publishing. And I also, this is what I really miss about the book business. um, the Book Expo of America at the Jacob Javits Center in New York. I went every year. It was just for industry professionals, publishing industry. I learned so much. I was able to ask questions from publishers, and I learned how they did things. I also went to their website because I tried my best to mimic a lot of their websites. I made sure that what they had on their publisher's website, I had on mine, and then I didn't look self-published anymore.
That font, I don't even think I've ever heard of it. That's really funny.
Yes. Now, Adobe has a version, Adobe Caslon.
Okay.
Yeah, Adobe has a version. Mm-hmm.
And so once you got into the publishing business, you had a very large stable of authors. When did you get the chance to write Loving You, Loving Simone, and Indiscretions? When did you weave that?
Okay. So first there was Anything Goes.
Mm-hmm.
Then it was Sweet Revenge. Then Apple Tree. Then Unfinished Business. And I wrote Unfinished Business because I killed Raven off in Sweet Revenge and people
Yes.
didn't like it. So I had to bring her back in Unfinished Business. That was kind of difficult, but I pulled it off. In My Sister's Corner, Crossing Sisters, Loving Simone, Loving You, and Indiscretions. Oh, Erogenous Zone is an anthology I did with a lot of other authors that I published. But Loving You, Loving You is just a little and a little novella that I think I might end up turning into a full novel. But Loving You was actually a short story that was published in Elisa Gabriel's Peace in the Storm. What was that anthology? Oh, sorry, Elisa, I can't think of it. Old age, I can't think of it. But it was called Julian's Grace. And that story opened her anthology. And I got such good reviews on it, I just decided to turn it into a novella. That story, Julian's Grace, my mother, while I was publishing people, I was a full-time caretaker of my mother, not knowing that my father was in the early stages of dementia. So I was living here with them. And my mother passed November 15th, 2004. 2007. 2007, November 15th. And that story, Julian Grace, had to be to Elisa on by July, by November. I'm sorry, November 15, 2007. Yeah. And it had to be to Elisa. Jessica, get it together. I'm getting okay, Mom. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, I know.
All
I
these
lived
years,
I lived next door to mine until she passed, so I
uh,
absolutely understand. Yeah.
thank you. But it had to be to Elisa by November 15th, 2007. And I took my mom off the ventilator that day. I hadn't written squat. So through tears, I had an obligation. And I went in the basement and I wrote out that short story. And I think it's the best piece of work I've ever written because it takes place in a hospital room between Julian and Grace. Grace is dying of cancer, and Julian, everything takes place right there in the hospital room. And so yeah, so that's Loving You. Loving Simone. That was the novel I wrote. That came out. When did you come out, girl? Let me see. Think, make sure I don't roll over nobody. Let me see here. Loving Simone was in 2009. So this came out in 2009, and I re-released it in 2021 with this new cover. And this is about a woman who's in an unhappy marriage, and she meets this professional football player and steps outside and has a good time. And then Indiscretions, I re-released this in 2021. Didn't write anything between 2021 and 2024. Indiscretions 2024.
So tell us about Indiscretions, okay?
So Indiscretions is the story of three couples, Kennedy and Malcolm. Yeah, three couples who all each have their own or have had indiscretions in their lives and in their marriages, and it comes back to bite them in the behind.
Right away?
Well, Malcolm's indiscretion was when he was 21 years old at Columbia University. Even though at that time he was dating his wife, which was his girlfriend then Kennedy, he met a woman. The book opens up a bar scene where 21-year-old Malcolm is sitting at the bar drinking because he and Kennedy had an argument. And so he just wanted to be to himself.
Yeah.
And this older woman comes in. Of course, he's attractive. Older woman comes in, she seduces him, and they're drinking and talking. And she takes him up to her room and screws his brains out. And
Brains out. I love that.
yeah, screws his brains out. And then I would say, I think the time frame, I think it's like 21 years later, he finds out that he has a son that comes knocking on his door, right? Because that he had a baby mama that he didn't know about. And so that was an indiscretion. And then another indiscretion is when Kennedy's best friend has an affair with their best friend's husband.
Hmm.
And then that's an indiscretion that comes out. So there's a whole lot of that. But you know what? This is 2026. I really tired of writing that stuff.
You're tired of
I'm,
writing it?
I'm tired of writing sex on every page.
Really?
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, how many more positions can
Well,
I write?
here's the thing. I think that um, when we start talking about romance and erotica, right? It's
Hmm.
always received so much better if it's a man. I want us to still stand 10 toes down about
Yeah.
how we can speak about it and write about it much better
Hmm. Hmm.
than a
Well, I
man
will tell
can.
you. Well, I will tell you this, Donna. I did write a book called The Way We Love. That's going to come out. And I wanted it to come out in 2025. So I had beta readers. I had three members of the Sweet Soul Sisters book club to read it. And we got together. They loved it. But they said, where is the Jessica Tillis heat? And it's the story of one woman who's dating six different men in different locations.
But no heat.
Because not just one man gives her everything she needs.
But no heat.
Eventually, 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 her conscience gets the best of her. So she tells them all about each other. Of course, they're not happy. They're all on the zone. She brings them all on the zone.
I love
You
that.
have an invite from Lila, Zoom, and each one pops up, and they're like, "What the?" And she tells them,
Was it
and at the
one
end
in
of that
particular
Zoom,
that you loved them more than the other?
yeah,
Yeah,
David,
so you'll get down the road to that. Don't
yeah,
tell the story yet, because you're
okay,
going to
yeah,
publish it, right?
I am going to publish it. I went back through and did some rewrites, and desperately needed some rewrites because when I read the proof, didn't sit with my gut right. So I did a lot of rewrites. So
I
that will
do.
come out.
I understand. I even have thought myself I should write something different. And every time I sit down to write something different, a dildo comes up,
Well, I'm writing
or
something
you know what I'm
different,
saying? I
Donna.
think it's just in my nature
Okay,
to
wait a minute.
write
You
that
got
way.
dildos in you write about dildos?
Yeah, I write erotica. Hmm.
Okay, so listen. I think we can still put that spice in our books, but at least something different. I think for me, I gotta have the spice because, single lady, that's the only spice I get is what I write in the book.
Right, exactly. So
So, but I do want to try other genres. I do want to write a mystery with sex in it. can write a thriller with sex in it. I also, one of my good friends and client, Ann Jeffries, she loves to tell
Oh, I love Ann
people,
Jeffries. Please tell her I
yeah,
say hello. Yeah. Yeah.
yes. She loves to tell people Jessica can go very dark. I can go to dark, dark places when I write. And sometimes it scares me. And I have to step back and say, yeah, let me not touch that anymore. And I don't know why that is. I don't know. Maybe I need therapy. But
Well, you know,
what
Anne Jeffries is a legacy
mhm,
writer, right? She likes
yes.
to talk about grandma who was a Geechee and then, tells about the whole family and then their, the
Yes, she's
children
got the
and the
whole family
children. She's a
reunion
legacy
series.
writer, right?
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is no,
Oh,
I can't do that. Yeah.
she can write. I talked to her today. She can write 30. This is book 30 that I
Yes.
just formatted. And 50 million characters in there. I was like, how do you keep up? And listen, I can't have no more than 6 or 7 characters. And then the dementia gets in there, and I done forgot. You know.
She's amazing, but I know I don't
Yeah.
have that talent. I know I
Yeah.
don't have that talent. I really do know
But
that.
you know what she does,
Mm.
right? She, and got a certain spot because I've been to her home in Myrtle Beach several times. She sits at that sofa with her legs propped up on the ottoman and her laptop, and she's like this all day. And one time I said, are you going to go to the bathroom? You just been sitting there. Said, can we go get something to eat, please? And she's from sun up to
Calm
sundown.
down.
She absolutely loves it. She
Yeah.
loves it. And if no one bought anything, she probably wouldn't care because it's something about writing and telling that story just fulfills her.
And
Mhm.
anyway, when you talk to her again, please tell her I said hello. I enjoy all her work. But
I will.
I don't want you and others like us to get away from telling the real story of what it is to have an erotic experience as a woman's point of view.
I don't
You
think
know,
I know anymore.
I'm sure you do. And if you don't, you can just make it up. Like I did. I made up half that stuff. Things that you think you would really love to happen to you,
Yes,
right? You
yes.
know. And so I hope that you have another book coming up, What She Did for Love. Are you telling me
Oh,
that it
yes,
is
that's coming
it
out in
is
September.
it's
Fingers crossed.
so you're telling me that it has no
Baby, they are, listen, I have to because it's what my readers like.
right.
And I've been told you can switch genres, we don't care, but we want to see the steam, we want to see the heat. So yeah, there's quite a bit of love making going on. i
I
think
love
though
that.
I think though the older I get,
Right,
the more mature I get with
right.
the love making
Okay,
scenes. I'm
okay.
not as graphic now with anything goes. All I knew was the P word and the D word.
Right.
And my mother, who was a teacher, read the book and she called me. She said, you coming over here today? I
You
said, I
should have
hadn't
said
planned
no.
to. I said, I hadn't planned to. She said, come on over. I said, oh, okay. And I went over and sat in the kitchen. There was a pad of paper and a pen. She said, I am so proud of what you've accomplished. You wrote your book, you published it yourself, but baby, you don't know the first thing about tenses. She said your tenses were all over the place. And she said you have to use other words other than P and D. And she said, on that piece of paper, I want you to make 2 columns, one for man, one for woman. And my mother, when I tell you I was red as an apple when she finished, in the male column, she was just call it this, you
Going
can
to
call it
town.
this and that. Yeah. And then in women, she was like, and I said, I still have that list. I was like, oh my God. I mean, but I guess I shouldn't have been surprised because this is the same woman who told me when I was getting married at 20 that I hadn't spread my thighs enough to. I'm like, okay. I said, I don't think your friends know this side of Wallace.
Well, I mean, it's amazing the jewels that you think about what they said now
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you kind of just glazed over while they were here, right?
Hmm.
And I'm with your mom. When I graduated from college, all of my I didn't graduate from college. That's a lot. When I went to college, all of my college mates got married, and they have
Uh-huh.
children, and they have grandchildren, right?
Hmm.
So I was pushing 30, and everybody's saying, "What you doing?" And I'm thinking, "What are y'all doing?" I'm not trying to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I have no
So,
children other than my 5 dogs.
right. And I think that it's your mother is right. If I had gotten married at 20, I would have been divorced in a
Yeah.
year. Because
Yeah.
I don't think you're ready. Because you
No.
don't have
And
any
I
life
wasn't.
experiences. Right, exactly.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
know, you
I
really
wasn't.
don't. So tell us
But I
about,
have no regrets.
no, no, neither do I. But tell us, if when you come to Fresh, what would your workshop look like? Have you thought about that?
No, I ain't thought about it. In fact, I was going to wrap with you to see what if there was something in particular you wanted me to discuss. So I'll
Well,
have to think
because
about that.
we write the same kind of genre, and I'm always on the go, so I never get a chance to do a workshop. I moderate it. I would
Okay.
like us discuss why it is that we are not accepted as emotional, romantic, erotic writers as much as somebody as men. And what is that about? And I'd like to have some women comment on why they receive it better, why I'm a hoe, right? And he's a dominant person in the industry, right? Meanwhile,
Okay.
we all have imagination, right? So if you believe I did everything in those 4 books that I wrote, I would not be on Zoom.
Mm,
I would be living in somebody's mansion, right?
right.
Take
Right.
taking care of that man. So
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
and I want us to
Okay.
explain that people who wrote Star Wars did not go to Mars. That's an imagination piece. That's
Mm-hmm.
having a little bit of knowledge about the galaxy and all
Mm-hmm.
that, and then weaving your own tale. Eroticism is the same way. Eroticism is what you write, not what you look at.
Exactly.
It's very, very different. I want to talk
Exactly.
about the difference.
And you're absolutely right because um when I meet somebody, a man, I don't tell him who I am. In fact, he doesn't get my pen name. Tillis is my ex-husband's last name. He gets the government name because people get to Google it. And so, and I stopped doing that because when I would do that, I said, oh, yeah, I'm Jessica Tillis. I write books. They would Google and they would buy my book and they would read all that sex and they would think, yeah, I can't, you a little too much. So I made up. I didn't straddle no man and blow his brains out. The character did.
Exactly. Or has
And
sex during going through the car wash. Like
yeah,
nobody does that.
yes,
Who can do
yeah, who does that?
that?
Or I don't go to some man's apartment and when he opens the door and drop to my knees. The character did
That
that.
does that, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
I mean, not it won't, not to say that it's not a possibility,
Right, exactly,
but
But
I'm a lady.
I would like to talk about the difference between pornography and erotica and
Okay.
how it is different
Mm-hmm.
when it comes from a woman.
Yes.
That would be really nice. And then
Mm-hmm.
have all your books there, of course, too, the ones you want to
Okay. Absolutely. I think that's a great topic to discuss.
bring.
Okay. I'll
I
be
love
ready
that.
for it.
So I
Okay.
need three
Thank you.
things you learned about your journey and three things that you saw, but you were too blind to see.
Okay. So let me start with that one.
Mhm.
I wasn't blind because I researched everything. I asked questions. I think that's just something I got from my mom and dad. While my mom was a teacher, my mother was one hell of a seamstress, made all everybody's clothes. So that was her side gig. And my father worked for the government, but he was also he had his own general contracting business. And so I just learned from them that whatever you get into, you need to research it. You need to learn it. You need to know every role in that business so you won't be asked out if somebody gets sick. You can
Right.
take over and uh, do the role. So I don't think I wasn't blindsided by anything. I will tell you though, what I won't say it's a disappointment, but back in the day, we had so much fun.
Oh my goodness.
And the Black author community was a little smaller than it is now, especially with self published authors. But baby, we would get in. I had a Jeep Grand Cherokee. Three of us piled up in there. It was snowing here in the DMV, but it was sunny in Florida. And we went to the Tampa Book Festival or the one of those book festivals. We would all get on the phone. Hey Jess, you going to the Harlem Book Fair? Yeah, you need a ride? Okay, come on. That's what we did. Gary and I went to the oh my God, the Memphis. What was that, Gary?
Lawrence Wayne, Memphis Book Film Festival.
Yeah, where is Lawrence? It's like he just fell off the face of the earth. But we had a ball there. Had a ball. And it was like we were just like a community and everybody knew everybody. We didn't have social media. We did have MySpace
MySpace.
and Black Planet, but Black Planet was more for dating. But we had MySpace and the chat rooms and the message boards, but we didn't have Twitter and Instagram and all this stuff. That stuff ain't come along till 2009, 2010. And we were every weekend.
Yes.
We gassed up the car, boxes of books in the car. And mind you, we didn't have print on demand.
Right.
We had traditional printers where you had to print a minimum of 500 books.
Books.
And we had to get rid of them damn books because we had boxes in our living room and they weren't going to sell themselves. So every weekend we were going somewhere. I miss that. I miss that about the business. What was the other question, Donna? The first one?
Three things you learned. That were the three things you saw, but were too blind to see. And three
Okay.
things you learned from your journey about yourself, besides
Mm,
being an introvert and an extrovert at the same time.
yeah. Um, wow, that's a good question. What did
You can think about that. I think Gary has a question for you. Gary, you got a question for
yeah,
Jessica?
I'll think about that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm enjoying the conversation because I'm a fan,
Yes.
and
Yay.
I've known Jessica for about pushing on 25 years now. And when I decided to or thought that I wanted to write my first book, she was the first person I came to, and she was instrumental in telling me about the publishing business. It was Jessica and actually Colin Dixon. You know, those two. They were really, really instrumental. And so I can't say enough good things about them. But,
But talk about
Jessica,
how she wrote for BlackAmericanMen.com.
oh,
BlackMenInAmerica.com,
Black
Donna.
men, yes, okay. Sorry. All of
well,
that.
my office, she would come by my office and she had a lot of ideas. And I'm like, and I was trying to launch this. And even though it was about black men weren't reading that much. So in order for me to get black men to read, I had to hook women. And so Jessica had good ideas and stuff. So I'm like, you know what? Why don't I just give you a column? And it started
JT's
out,
Book Corner.
yeah, JT's Book Corner. And so she would help me with do that. And she was autonomous. She had her own autonomy to do that. And even though she was writing erotic stuff. And so I had this website called Erotic Expressions. And
Mm.
I was like, you can help with that too. And so
Mhm.
she was just instrumental in helping me build that site, back then in the early 2000s. And so she's always been instrumental in helping me do stuff like that. And so
But you did
now,
have a question, right? You did a
yeah,
question?
yeah,
Yeah.
she's a storyteller, I
Yeah.
think. And so, when people read your work, Jessica, um, what do you hope they remember about the power of storytelling?
Mm.
Y'all gonna ask me questions that's gonna make me think.
Sorry. Oops.
Sorry. Oops.
You know, I'm gonna answer it this way. Um, I like when people read my books and see themselves in my books. I don't know if that's answering your question exactly,
It is.
Mhm.
but that as an author, to know that I touch someone with my words, with my storytelling, that means a lot to me. That really does mean a lot. And if I can go back to Donna's question, I think what was the question, Donna?
Three things you learned about your journey. I love you for that because I do that all the time.
I I've learned that I can truly stand on my own because this is a business, you know. Uh okay, let me see how I'm gonna word this. Oh hell. It can be a cutthroat business. It
Absolutely.
really can be. And because it's changed from when we started. Like I said, we were like a family. You go to the Harlem Book Festival, hey, so and so, so and so. Everybody knew everybody. But now it's not like that anymore. You got some clicks and stuff like that. I stay away from that. I just want to keep my nose clean and my brand clean. I've built, I think, a wonderful brand. When people see Jessica Tillis on a cover, they know what they're going to get. Um, when they see me, they know what they're going to get. You're going to get uh, a beautiful soul. I don't come with a chaser, meaning I give it straight. I shoot straight from the hip. I'm transparent and I got a mouth like a sailor. But I I think that's definitely it. I've learned to stand on my own
Mm.
um, because you know being a writer can be lonely at times. It can be lonely because I can't always go out to this event and that event because I have self-imposed deadlines. And not only that, with TWA Solutions,
Right.
I've got I've got one hell of a client roster. I mean, I could be doing, 13, 14, editing 13, 14 books at one time. I've got deadlines. So, um, so another answer would be I've learned to live with myself and I love myself because I'm with myself. I'm not with anybody else. I talk to myself. So, I'm in a house by myself. So I don't walk around the house thinking. I speak out loud. Can't nobody hear me. Dogs think I'm nuts, but that's okay. Sometimes they talk back and bark. Um, I have peace. I've severed ties that were toxic. And I love my life. I love where I am now. I'm obedient to God. And because of that, He is opening doors for me that I never thought would open. And if you'd asked me 30 years ago, you know, I would have thought I would be here. And and part of my journey was Gary. Part of my journey was
Gary
Gary.
makes himself a part of everybody's journey. I love that about
Yes,
him. I
that's
love
how
that.
he is. I
Yeah.
latched on to Gary and latched on to Deborah, his wife, Deborah.
She's
Deborah and
beautiful,
I
just the
ended up
most
hanging
beautiful
out.
soul. Yeah.
Yes. And everybody in his family, his
Mm.
mama, his daddy, his sister. And um Gary's office was over a funeral home. And I had a book signing right there over the funeral home.
That's right.
Um, but but you know, in this business, connect yourself. These are to the new people. Connect yourself with people who mean you good. You know what I mean? Um, be you. Don't try to be everybody else.
Right.
Don't worry about what other authors think or other people write. Think, write for you.
Right.
Write what I want to write. Rarely do I have beta readers. The only time I had that beta reader in 2025 is because I stepped out of my lane with a topic that I wasn't really familiar with. The whole polyamorous stuff like that. And I don't get too deep into that. And so, that's the only time when I've had a beta. I don't have people. I listen. Either you love Jessica Tillis or
Oh,
you
you
don't.
don't. That's how I feel. Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah. And I'm with
mhm,
you. I think I was, underground's probably gone now, but I was in the underground and this lady came running out of a store and she said, "Why did you kill Rodney?" One of the characters. And so that really makes you feel, you know, just very special that she would even
mhm.
run out the store because she saw me, first of all. And
Yeah.
second of all, she's screaming about a character he was a
Mhm.
piece of trash. He needed to die. But, they really liked him as a person. But he
It's
was,
a
yeah,
good
not
feeling.
feeling. It really was. So we ask everyone for a pearl of wisdom. Do you have one for us tonight?
I do. When I graduated from the sixth grade from Richardson Elementary School in Washington, D.C., my Aunt Fanny, God rest her soul, she gave me a card with $20 in it. Always got $20 on a birthday. Your aunts did that.
Yeah.
And inside the card was love many, trust few, learn to paddle your own canoe. And that has stuck with me for years. And sometimes that's what I'll sign in my books.
Wow.
Love many, trust few. Learn to paddle your own canoe. And I think that's why I'm so independent now. I mean,
Mm.
I dated guys that say, "Oh, you can't nobody, you're too you're too independent." Why? Hey, I got to eat and pay bills too. But I
Exactly.
think that's why I've just been that type of person. Never asked for anything. I mean, I'll be transparent. When my mother passed in 2007, and when my father passed in 2011, so did all of their money. They didn't leave any insurance policies or anything like that. I didn't go to my siblings. I didn't go to anybody. I just did what I had to do. And the house went into foreclosure. And at that time, President Obama, did the affordable housing
Yes, he
program.
did.
I drove from Upper Marlboro, Maryland to Harvard de Grace, Maryland, which is right there at the Delaware line,
Mm-hmm.
once a week to meet with a counselor who was a pastor, just to call the mortgage company. So, they said, well, they told me, well, you're self-employed, so you don't qualify. And he was on the line. He said, that's not true, and blah, blah, blah. But, I did what I had to do, and I was able to get that home affordable mortgage program and got $100,000 knocked off the mortgage, 2% fixed. I'm good. This house will be paid off in 2036.
All right.
And I just, I didn't tell any, no one knew. I turned off the cable. I was still running my business, so I had Cricket phone service. So I went and got me one of those little $60 Cricket internet thingies and plugged it into my computer. That's how I did my work. In the winters, it got very cold, didn't have any heat because I have oil heat.
Mm.
I got little space heaters. My siblings, nobody knew. I didn't need, I was okay. I've never done handouts just because I don't want it thrown back up in my face. So I
Right.
just don't do it. And it
Yeah.
wasn't until my oldest sister, Jacqueline, I miss her. She passed in 2023. And she just stopped past the house out the blue. She said, it's cold in here. I said, well, my office is warm. She's like, you, you're not going to turn on the heat? I said, a year later. I didn't tell her I didn't have no oil. The next day, the oil truck pulled up to my house. And I said, excuse me, I didn't order that. And he said, are you Jessica? I said, I am. Okay, this is from your sister, Jacqueline. She filled up my freaking tank, a 200-gallon tank. And so, I was like, let me pay you back. She said, you're my sister, girl. That's what she said. You're my sister, girl. Yeah, I pay you back.
Through the
And
fire.
huh?
Through the fire.
Through the fire.
To the
Yeah.
limit. To the wall. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I've always just stood on my own 2 feet. I just, and if I don't have the money for something, I just wait. If I got a doctor's appointment on Wednesday, but I ain't gonna get no money till Friday, well, and I don't have no gas, I'm gonna reschedule that doctor's appointment. I'm
Okay.
not gonna call Donna. Can I get $20 for
Go to
gas?
the, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I ain't doing that shit at 59 years old.
Right. So, Jessica, our time is up. I need you to
Okay.
tell everyone how to reach you. Yeah.
Well, you can reach me at www.jessicatillis.com. My email address, jessicatillis, TILLES, at gmail.com. But my website need to be updated. So I'll take care of that tonight.
Yeah.
Social media, Jessica Tillis. I'm Jessica Tillis all over the place.
Well, thank you so much for being on
Thank
Zoom in on a
you.
fresh conversation. I can't wait to meet you when you
I
come
can't wait.
in
I
February.
am
I'm
so
really
excited.
excited. And so, Gary, thank you for joining us this evening on Zoom in. And when the lights go out and the cell phone towers go down, all you have left is a flashlight and a good book. So, thank
Mhm.
you very much. And we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.